What's up, everybody? Matt Gajewski here, back again with the Awesemo channel, talking some college football DFS ahead of Thanksgiving. Yes, that's right. It is not just NFL that we have on Thanksgiving. We have two college football games to get you going and a premier rivalry matchup between Ole Miss and Mississippi State. So you don't want to miss it. Before we get started, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when this and all other content goes live. And without further ado, bringing you behind the glass for our two-game Thanksgiving slate college football edition. We're going to kick this off with Fresno State taking on San Jose State in the Mountain West. It's a 51.5-point total, and Fresno is a touchdown favorite over San Jose State. These teams play very different. Fresno is extremely fast, where San Jose likes to slow and control pace. Both teams very pass-heavy, so this is an intriguing matchup. Jake Haener has been excellent this year. He's basically a zero on the ground, but he's averaging over 315 yards per game on the back of immense volume, nearly 38 attempts per game, and he's been efficient on top of it. San Jose State plays middling defense, so Haener is one of the better quarterback plays in the slate. He's awesome to stack with. You have Jalen Cropper coming down in price. He's been banged up at times throughout this year, but $6K flat is a really low price for an alpha receiver like Cropper, who's averaging 9 targets per game on the year. Again, that's been down a little bit, but I'm still interested in taking a stab on him. From there, Josh Kelly and Kerrick Wheatfall round out the starting receivers. I think both are very intriguing. You have Josh Kelly averaging 7.8 targets per game over the last 4, Kerrick Wheatfall at 5.8. Both guys over 550 receiving yards. And Josh Kelly is actually only about 20 yards behind Jalen Cropper on the season. So both very intriguing options here. And then they often will rotate a fourth receiver onto the field. Zane Pope has functioned in this capacity a lot, but even Ty Jones, he's popped up for big target games here and there. I would rather play Zane Pope at 3,700, and it's a two-game slate, so you might need to consider some of these ancillary options. In the backfield, Ronnie Rivers has returned from injury. He outcarried Jordan Mims 20-8 last week. Mims has been a little more active in the pass game, but I wouldn't be too worried here. Ronnie Rivers has been an extremely active pass catcher throughout his career, so not a ton of worry there. And not very many backs in the slate to target, so I'm definitely interested in that situation. San Jose State side, Nick Starkel's back from injury. They still have used Nick Nash as a complementary pass catcher, so you don't have all the snaps coming for Starkel. He offers you nothing on the ground. He actually has pretty significant negative yardage. And now that he's splitting a little bit of time with Nash, it's really hard to see him getting to a 300-yard game. But again, really, really short slate, just 2 games. Starkel's easily the 4th option here, but for tournaments, he has to be a consideration. In the receiving core, Derek Deese, their tight end, is the leader. He has the most receiving yards on the team, ahead of Isaiah Hamilton, ahead of Jermaine Braddock. I think those are the top 3 options overall. And then you have Isaiah Holiness, interestingly, playing a much larger role of late with Charles Ross not playing. So those are the guys you want to look at. Again, I think San Jose State is the worst team to target on this slate overall. And then in the backfield, Tyler Nevins out carrying Kyrie Robinson of late. The timeshare has been a little closer than in previous weeks, but Nevins still your leader to Kyrie Robinson. He's just an ancillary piece. But again, only 22 implied team total here. I think you want to pick and choose carefully with San Jose State, like stacking with Fresno. And again, the guys you would pick and choose from are Tyler Nevins, Kyrie Robinson, Deese, Isaiah Hamilton, and primarily Jermaine Braddock. Second game, this is where we want to be focusing most of our energy. Ole Miss, Mississippi State, the rivalry game, 64-point total. Mississippi State is a 1-point favorite. Both these teams play extremely fast, over 78 plays per game for both. Ole Miss is a little run heavier, and Mississippi State runs their traditional air raid system under Mike Leach. For Ole Miss, a team getting much healthier. Now, Mississippi State has played strong defense at times, but Matt Corral is a great dual threat. 552 rushing yards in the year, 281 passing yards per game on 32 attempts. And now that efficiency should spike with healthy receivers. They now have Dontario Drummond, Braylon Sanders, and Jonathan Mingo all healthy. Drummond and Sanders played a full role in their last game, 9 targets for Drummond, 7 for Sanders. Drummond's missed games this year, and he still is averaging 79 per game, so very impressive. Sanders was the wide receiver 3 before Mingo went down with injury, but Mingo was still getting his feet under him, and interestingly, it was a foot injury for Mingo, but only 1 target in his return. He played on about half the snaps. I would expect this number to only rise for Mingo, but that's already been accounted in prices on DraftKings. Mingo price ahead of Sanders. Sanders is safer because we just don't know how long it'll take Mingo to get back to that full-time role. Mingo split time 50-50 with Ja'Cour Pearson. So Pearson being more expensive than Sanders on DraftKings is also a little baffling to me. Sanders already played a full-time role. Pearson, about a 50-50 split with Mingo. John Rice Plumlee, some of these other options, Dennis Jackson, they all return to their ancillary role. The tight end, Casey Kelly, is still extremely involved. We haven't seen Chase Rogers in multiple weeks because of an ankle injury. So don't sleep on Casey Kelly. He's playing most of the snaps still, just a little lower upside for his role. In the backfield, what has been a three-way timeshare was reduced a little bit. Snoop Connor and Jarian Ely, they handled 20 carries combined to just 1 for Parrish. Now, Parrish has been very active in the pass game. He still had 2 targets, and we've seen a lot of ebbs and flows to this backfield. The week prior, Ely 29 carries, and he clearly outcarried Snoop and Parrish. And then in the most recent game, Parrish, of course, has the reduced role. So I wouldn't put too much stock into that. I still think Ely's the 1, Snoop is the 2, and Parrish is the 3. But it's also very close between them. And I don't hate taking stabs on Snoop and Parrish either at cheaper prices. For the Mississippi State side, we know what they do. Will Rogers is not mobile whatsoever, but he throws the ball so much that he just basically backdoors his way into 300 yards every game. He's averaging 369.5 passing yards through the air on 52 attempts per game. The volume is just so ridiculous that Will Rogers is often getting there based on that alone. In the pass game, Mekhi Polk is the number 1 receiver for this team, 81 yards per game. He's averaging 10.5 targets. The wide receiver 2 of late has been Austin Williams. He was still only averaging 4.5 targets per game, but he's played an increased role. And then from there, you have Jaden Walley as the wide receiver 3, 5.8 targets per game for Wadley. But again, not as many routes as Williams. I think I'm still siding right now with Walley because he's at a cheaper price, but it's very close between the two. And then from there, you have Malik Heath and Jamire Calvin operating as the 4 and 5. Lydicher Griffin's been hurt, so watch for his return. He's at the zone minimum, and he played a role before injury. Christian Ford also out. Ra Thomas has missed time. That's allowed Caleb Ducking, Rufus Harvey, and Brody King to mix in. But again, these are all really cheap ancillary receivers. Expect most of the work to go through Polk, Walley, and then Austin Williams, Malik Heath. Backfield, they use their runners so frequently in the pass game that Jaquavius Marks is the 2nd most targeted receiver on the team. Dylan Johnson is the 4th. That gives them a really strong floor overall, and on a 2-game slate, these are safe options here. Not to mention, Mississippi State allows nearly 200 rushing yards per game. So in the rare event that they do get some volume on the ground, that could be in play too. Building prices on these guys, I'm very interested in Marks and Dylan Johnson here. I'll have a lot of them on the slate. But that does it. It's only 2 games up, 2 games down. Again, hope you guys enjoyed the holiday. Let me know in the comment section who your favorite plays are. Would love to hear it. Otherwise, we'll be back for all the other slates this week. I'm Matt Gajewski on Twitter at Matt_Gajewski. We'll see you again next time.